Hmm. Good evening. Okay, look. In the last class, we have discussed starting of your chapter, that is uh, explain Frederick Sorayu's vision of a world map of a democratic social and republics. There are four figure.
And the first
Uh,
figure was
there are four figure in the painting, and
Statue of Liberty.
you know about what is inside every picture. What is inside every picture?
So,
Number one, number one is showing. Hmm.
Liberty,
Showing a procession coming towards Statue of Liberty. Number two,
Movement,
demolition of abolition of
abolition,
absolute
abolishment of absolute,
absolute institution. Number three, different different nation people
different nations and people,
and their flag. And number four,
the gods,
uh,
something like it.
the God was happy whatever happening with this. Okay,
Uh,
this is inside the first question, the first few para of your chapter. Explain the symbol used in Sarayu's painting, or what was Sarayu's utopic vision. Hmm. Then we understand what is a nation state. Nation state means people feel they belong to one nation.
unified or
Hmm.
unit.
People feel they belong to one nation. People feel they belong to one nation. Under which things? Under
Unity होती है, common identity होती है,
uh,
common history होती है,
common identity,
language of
under common history, under common language and culture, under feelings of a unity. Under these four category, they are feeling we are unit. We are comes from one nation.
oneness.
Then what was inside nation state? In nation state, we having central government, fixed boundary, sovereign power over etc. territory.
हाँ,
Okay. Then we learn what is the difference between nation state and multinational dynasties. The main difference between nation state and multinational dynasties is in nation state citizens feel unit as one nation, common identity, and that is absent in multinational dynasties. Okay, in nation state, common identity, language, culture, history. People share these many things, but in multinational dynasties may or may not have these things. Okay, then we learn what do you understand by absolutist institutions. Absolutist institution means there is no restriction in the power of a government. There was no restriction on power of a
power of government.
government. What is utopian? Utopian means it is a vision which is not really possible. What is not really possible? It is an
So ideal that it's not
imaginary society. Okay.
possible.
Then we learn the important things that is which is outside of your course, but you have to understand these many things to understand this chapter. Okay. If you try to learn the chapter thoroughly, then you have to remember the French Revolution and time period. In 1789, French Revolution was started.
Revolution start हुआ था.
In 1789, National Assembly
National Assembly
abo-
abolished
abolished
or
feudalism and declared the right of a man and a citizen. In 1791, a new constitution was introduced and France became constitutional monarchy. Constitutional monarchy means monarchy is there, but the power of a monarchy is
पर
restricted.
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की वजह से लिमिट हो
हाँ,
गया किंग
limit हो गया. Then in 1792, monarchy was abolished and France became a republic. Means in between 1 year, they realized this constitutional monarchy is risk for them. So they abolished constitutional monarchy and started a republic. Made France as a republic. Then in 1793 to 94,
आ गया और
हाँ,
रेन ऑफ टेरर स्टार्ट हो गया.
okay. That means in these 2 years, one political party or one club called Jacobean Club is coming in the power, which was led by Robespierre. Okay.
रॉबस्पियर.
Then 1795, a directory government was established. Directory government is nothing but groups of some people, but they were unable to rule the France. That's why in 1789, Napoleon Bonaparte seized power through a cup. Cup means without democracy. But he demolished democracy, but acquired the power, become the ruler of the France.
रूलर ऑफ कंट्री.
In 1804, Napoleon declared himself emperor of France and introduced Napoleon Corps. In 1815, Napoleon was defeated at Waterloo Uh,
उसे हराने के बाद ट्रीटी ऑफ वेना हुई
Treaty
थी।
of Vienna. Today we are going to learn about Treaty of Vienna and who defeated Napoleon? Russia, Prussia,
रसिया,
Prussia,
क्रोएशिया,
I think UK and other country.
जर्मनी भी था शायद।
Prussia stands for Germany. Okay, क्योंकि at that time Germany was ruled by Prussia. Okay.
अच्छा, ठीक है।
Then 1821 to 1830, what was happening in this? We learn after after Napoleon was defeated in the war. What was happening in France? Again, those monarchical system was coming in France. Okay,
हाँ,
so to demolish the previous things in 1830, several revolution was started. Finally, in 1848, many of the European uh, European multinational dynasties become nation state. Okay, this is the timeline. Okay, then we understand what measures were introduced by French Revolution to create a sense of a collective identity in France. Means हाँ,
फ्रांस
क्या क्या किया गया फ्रांस के वो
आइडियाज को
रिवोल्यूशनरी तरह
लाया, ये
वो
इंट्रोड्यूस किया।
वो यूनिफिकेशन को बरकरार रखने के लिए. Then we learn what is inside Napoleon Code. Okay, then we learn why did the initial enthusiasm for French rule turn into hostility? Means, look,
हम याद है वाला।
when the other country of
जब
people
नेपोलियन
known
इन्वेड कर ली थी तब उन्होंने वो करा था, अदर कंट्रीज पे भी कब्जा कर लिया था।
जब नेपोलियन ने अदर कंट्री को एक्सपांशन किया व एक्वायर किया, वो सारे जो अदर कंट्री के सिटीजन्स थे वो पहले इनका एक्सेप्ट किया. मीन्स उनको एक्सपेक्ट किया, एक्सेप्ट किया. हाँ, उनको इनवाइट किया कि आप आकर हम लोग को रूल करा, क्योंकि नेपोलियन एक्सपेंशन के साथ साथ वो नेशनलिज्म की, हाँ,
बाकी नेशनलिज्म फीलिंग सारी सेम थी।
जो डेमोक्रेसी था, जो इक्वालिटी था, जो जस्टिस था, जो फ्रीडम था, उसको वो ला रहा था. बट आफ्टर फ्यू डेज दिस रिएक्शन वाज चेंज्ड. Then here, yesterday we have discussed how this was changed. Okay, this was yesterday's what we have covered. Today we have to cover the making of a nationalism in Europe. Look, actually in India also, if you look India, in India several diversities are there in basis of a language, in basis of a food, in basis of a uh, culture. So in India several several diversity are there. Like this, Europe also same. In Europe, you cannot believe this. That time today also, based on language, based on culture, based on food, several diversity. Diversity means one area, multiple types of people are living. Okay. Then how they become nation state? Because nation state how they
कॉमन
unite,
आइडेंटिटी होनी चाहिए नेशन।
how they unite. It is not easy. It was not easy. Okay. Describe the political condition of Europe before the rise of nationalism. In the next thing, we are going to learn what was the political condition before the rise of nationalism. Okay, and explain in the diversity of the Habsburg Empire. Here, your book give one example to understand Habsburg Empire. Habsburg Empire, which is active in Austro-Hungarian Empire. Means today Austria and Hungary, in these two countries having one empire called Habsburg
एम्पायर।
Habsburg Empire. Means we are in this stanza we are going to learn how Europe was diversified before the nationalism feelings. Okay, to understand this I am opening one map. Look, this is the Habsburg Empire. Are looking, Habsburg Empire is actively in look Austria and Hungary. This is two area. Okay, are you looking now?
हाँ
One country is Austria and another country is Hungary. This total area one time occupied by Habsburg
Habsburg
Empire.
Empire.
Habsburg Empire. Look, Germany, Italy, and Switzerland were divided into many small states like kingdoms, duchies, and cantons. What do you mean by duchies and cantons? It is like state. If you compare today, India is a country. Under country, several states are there like this. Okay. Each ruler control his own area independently. That means, suppose this is the look. Suppose this is today German country. That time inside German country it was divided into many cantons. Many cantons.
Kingdoms.
Ah. Each ruler control his own area independently. Eastern and Central Europe were ruled by autocratic monarchs. Eastern and Central Europe.
Central
Look,
Europe.
suppose
East or center.
wait. This is the total Europe. This is the map of a total Europe.
Europe.
If you divide like this part is comes under Eastern Europe, and this part is comes under Western
Western
Europe.
Europe.
This is the eastern part of Europe, and this is the western part of Europe. Your book is saying Eastern and Central Europe were ruled by autocratic monarchs. Before nationalism, this part were this part were ruled by autocratic monarch.
Autocratic monarch.
Autocratic monarch means king with absolute power. There is no restriction with no restriction on king's power.
Power.
Okay. Here we are learning what was the political condition Europe before rise of nationalism. Okay. Different kinds of people live inside these empires. Look, suppose this is the Habsburg Empire. Okay. Look, it cover almost entire western part and some entire central part and some eastern part.
East.
Different kinds of people lived inside this empire. They spoke different language. If you come to Habsburg Empire, here many people are living who are telling German, whose language is German, whose language is Italian, whose language is Italian. And several people have their own language, local language, belonging to different ethnic group. Different ethnic means
Different.
different culture. Okay, that means what you understand. Before nationalism, Europe is like one vegetable market. Different types of vegetable are there. Different types of people are there. Then how they united? How they united? Because this unification was starting from France. Now it is look. It was initially started from France, but it is spread all over the Europe, na? Think the Europe which was diversified based on language, based on ethnic group, based on different culture, how they combine. Okay, that is the main important of this chapter. Here one example is given to understand but how much diversity was Europe at that time. Okay, look about the Habsburg Empire. Habsburg Empire means, remember, Austro-Hungarian Empire means the empire which was active in Austria and Hungary at that time. The Habsburg Empire was made up of many regions and peoples. Look, Trial Austria and Sudetenland had mostly German-speaking people. Means this part is mostly German-speaking people. Means on the basis of a language, how they diversified. Try to understand. Lombardy and Britannia had Italian-speaking people. That means this is the southern part. The southern part of Austro-Hungarian Empire people was generally Italian-speaking people. In Hungary, many people spoke Magyar while others spoke different dialects. Look, in Hungary also, because the total empire is like this, na? The western side was telling German. The western side was telling German. The southern side was telling Italian. And the middle people are telling Magyar. Magyar means local language. and with different dialects. Different dialects means different local language are there. Okay.
mm, mm,
In Galicia, rich people mainly spoke Polish. Galicia means, look, this is the Galicia part. Are you looking? Here you look. Galicia.
हाँ हाँ
Here generally they were spoke Polish. Then look, one kingdom in western side. In western side, German people were there. In southern side, Italian people were there. In central or eastern side, Magyar and with local language are there.
mm,
And in
mm,
northern side, Polish language were there. Then think how much diversified at that time Europe was. Okay?
हाँ
This concept you are learning to understand if that much diversified is was present on Europe at that time, then how they become national, how they become national state. Okay? Because all these groups were different, they did not feel united as one nation. The only thing connected them was loyalty to the emperor. That means how they were living. You look, this much diversification was there. Then how they living together? Only for one thing, they were loyal to the emperor. Means before 1789, their feeling was they were not same. But due to emperor, for showing respect to the emperor, they were thinking we were
we
same.
were unified
Okay, unified. But really, that was not happening.
but
You
not
understand this concept?
mm,
Hmm. Remember, the eastern side,
eastern
German.
side में German speaking लोग
The southern side,
southern
Italian.
side में Italy
Middle, Magheri with some local language.
Margeria local
And the
language
top,
and by
and the topmost, and the topmost,
Polish
Polish. This is the situation. This was the situation in Habsburg Empire.
Habsburg Empire
Okay. This was the situation before 1789. Before 1789.
9
Okay. Then the next concept is the that means after we learn before what was happening before 1789, and we learn what was happening after 1789. But mostly after 1804. Okay. Look, the aristocracy and the new middle class. What do you mean by aristocracy and what do you mean by middle
aristocrat
class?
मतलब
Hmm.
aristocrat मतलब बहुत अमीर लोग
Listen. Suppose this is 1789 before the French Revolution. In society, two groups are there. Two groups are there. Peasant.
aristocrats or middle class
No. Before
peasants
before 1789, two castes, but two class are there. Peasant and aristocracy.
peasants aristocrats
Aristocracy. Under aristocracy, king and their relation, king and the king related person are there with a clergy. With a clergy means whoever
clergy
whoever related with a Christian religion. The two are
हाँ
comes. But
जैसे popes वोप्स
popes वो सब आएंगे. But what was happening after 1789 when but mostly in after 1804 when Napoleon
केवल
expand their
Napoleon
policy throughout the Europe, one new class is emerged. One new class is emerged. Okay.
middle class
Look, first aristocracy. If the question is coming like this, who was aristocracy? But what is the meaning of aristocracy? Aristocracy is a class. Okay. Look, the landed aristocracy was the dominant social and political class in Europe. That means if the question is coming like who was aristocracy, the dominant social and political class in Europe who having land. Okay, इसके पास जमीन था. They owned large state in the countryside and townhouse in the cities. They owned large state means buildings, houses. Okay, in the countryside and towns. Country के बाहर भी था, country के अंदर भी था. Okay, they share a common lifestyle across regions. Look, that don't think we are learning the whole Europe. Means the aristocracy class is in whole Europe. Don't think we are learning only inside France. No. Are you understand?
हाँ हाँ
Means look. Suppose here, what was the dynasty name who was ruling in France?
मल्टीनेशनल डायनेस्टीज
17
वो था
uh,
बर्बन किंग ऑफ
Bourbon king. Means Bourbon dynasty is in France. In German, Prussian Empire. German, Prussian Empire. In Austro-Hungary, Habsburg. All having king and clergy and the person related to king, na? All are called aristocracy. Don't think we are learning one particular country. No. All the country having aristocracy class. Okay? They share a common lifestyle across region. What does it means? Means
कॉमन लाइफस्टाइल थी उनकी मतलब सब अमीर थे
common lifestyle means in France the king also having a lifestyle that is similar as the Habsburg Empire king,
या
Prussian king. Okay, they spoke French in diplomacy and high society. The here the French king, the Prussian king, the Habsburg king, and the other UK king, they are using French language to work. Okay, aristocracy families were connected through marriages. Look, if you know about French Revolution, the Louis 16, I think Louis 15 or 14 was married the queen of Austria, the queen of Austria. Means this aristocracy class were connected through marriages. That means what you understand. If you try to remove king from France, it was not easy because they were connected through marriages. They were connected. Okay.
किंग को हटाने के लिए
They
अगर
were
फ्रांस के किंग को हटाना है तो उन्हें हैब्सबर्ग के एम्पायर से भी लड़ना पड़ेगा
bus. They were powerful but small in number. They were powerful. This aristocratic class were powerful but small in number. Small mean their number they were minorities. They were minorities. This is the point. If the question is coming like who was aristocracy, you have to write. Okay. That if aristocracy class are minorities, then who were majority at that time? Peasants. In Western Europe, land was cultivated by tenants and small owners. In Eastern and Central Europe, large states were worked by some. Means, look, you are learning the social system during 1789. Okay? During 1789. The whole society was divided into two groups. One is aristocrats, one is peasant. Okay? Aristocrats were less in number but occupied most of the land. One interesting thing. The thing is, before going to learn how this middle class was emerged, try to understand what was happening that time. Look, industrial revolution. Industrial revolution means in eastern part of the Europe, during 13th century, industries were made. Industries means where product are made. If you divide the total Europe into two part, actually the industrial revolution was initially started on Eastern Europe. Okay, look. So that's why, look, the aristocracy class were same in both the part, but peasant lifestyle was a little bit changed in Eastern Europe and Western Europe due to this industrial revolution. You understand the point? Look, don't think there was a middle class. Middle class was emerged due to this industrialized revolution. Okay. I am telling about the situation. Think there was no industrial revolution, but the industries in Europe. That time, the whole Europe, two class were there. One is the aristocracy and one is the peasant. But after industrial revolution, what was happening?
class emerged.
No, no, wait. The Western Europe land was cultivated by tenants and small owners. Means here, in the western part, actually the peasants have their own land. Peasants have their own land. But in western part, they were worked under subs. Subs means bounded labor. Subs means bounded labor. Then think, if you have your own land and here you are under one subs, then which part will be developed in by which part will be developed rapidly? कौन सा वाला पार्ट जो आगे चला जाएगा, ईस्टर्न और यूरोप?
वेस्टर्न,
वेस्टर्न वाला, क्योंकि इधर जो पिजन्स है ना उनके पास खुद का जमीन,
अपना खुद का लैंड है तो वो काम करते
हाँ.
हैं.
Due to this industrial revolution in western part of the Europe, one new class were emerged. Who are not peasants. They were not working in lands. They were working in industries. They were working in industries.
They had their own land.
That is called the middle class. That is called the middle class. Industrial production and trade increase in Western and Central Europe. You understand this line? Towns and commercial classes began to grow. In towns were began to grow. Commercial classes means who are working in industries. Or before this, there were no industry. Either you were peasants nor you were aristocrats. But now one middle class were emerging who were neither aristocrat nor peasants. They were middle class, means his occupation is in industry. Industrialization started in United Kingdom. Where was industrialization started? UK. In the 18th century. 18th century means from 1700 to 1800. Actually, in 1300, Renaissance was started. Okay, Renaissance means development. So finally, in 17th to 18th century, industrialization was started in UK. In France and German state, industrialization developed during the 19th century. Initially, it started in UK during 18th century, means 1700 to 1800. In France and German state, industrialization developed during the 19th century, means from 1800 to 1900. Means during the
1800 or 1900.
During the French Revolution, industrialization was started in France, but little bit. Okay. New social group emerged, such as worker, industrialists, businessmen, and professionals. These groups form the middle class. This group forms the middle class. The question is like this, coming like this. What do you mean by middle class in Europe? Or how middle class were emerged in Europe? You have to write down these many things. Okay? Look. Tell me. This middle class were working in industry na? Living in city na? That means they have enough money, but they income enough money. If you have money, then you have to invest. Then you have to invest money for getting education na? And once you become educated, you will ask the question about that current situation. Means absolute monarchy. That was happening. Okay? This middle class was a real reason why nationalism feelings was started in Europe. In Central and Eastern Europe, the middle class was smaller unity. The late 19th century. Central and the Eastern part, because this in the Western part, first
middle class
no. Why? Because the region is industrial revolution. Look, focus on the term. The educated liberal middle class. Educated, you know how they got education? Because they have enough money. What do you mean by liberal? Wait, some second, we will learn. Supported nationalism and national unity. Because you think na, suppose initially aristocrats and peasants have many problems. They don't have money, they don't have a basic lifestyle, so they did not think about aristocracy. Okay? But when one person is coming between them, he has enough money, but Here's some restriction. Who put this restriction? This aristocracy put the restriction. That they asked the question: nationalism and national unity. Okay, they wanted the abolition of aristocratic privileges. Who wanted this? Middle class, other,
Middle
or you can say educated liberal middle class. Educated liberal. This middle class were educated. The peasants were not educated. Peasants have their own problem, but but the middle class has educated and they have enough money. That's why they're thinking about nationalism and national unity. You understand?
हाँ
Then the next concept. What did liberal nationalism stands for? The question is, what did liberal nationalism stands for? You know what I mean by nationalism? It is a feeling of a unity.
हाँ
Liberal means freedom. Liberal means freedom. Okay. Initially, this middle class were supporting liberalism, supporting liberalism.
liberalism
But how this liberalism helped nationalism, we'll learn in this paragraph. Okay,
हम्म
means look, you have a trader,
हम्म
you have money, you you are trying to liberal means freedom. Freedom means freedom of market, freedom of means many things.
freedom of
Okay, huh.
people
Ma-
equality
Equality. Due to this liberal feeling, background nationalism we are creating. Okay, this middle class main intention is liberal because they wanted a free market, they wanted justice, they wanted equality.
right
Okay,
to speak right to
these are
property
the things. These are the things which create nationalism in Europe. You understand?
हम्म
Here we are going to learn liberal plus nationalism.
nationalism
The first
liberalism
question is,
plus
what do you mean by
nationalism
liberalism? Okay, in early 19th century Europe, nationalism was linked with liberalism. Look, in early 19th century means 1800, around 1800 to 1810, in Europe, nationalism was linked with liberalism. The word liberalism comes from the Latin word liber. Liberalism, the word was comes from the Latin word liber, meaning free, meaning
meaning
free.
free
Liberalism supported individual freedom. The two things. Liberalism supports, but the person who accept liberalism, they follow two things. They follow two things. They supported two things: individual freedom, and equality before law. Equality before law मीन्स आदमी का खुद का कुछ फ्रीडम होता है. जैसे आज
हम्म
इंडिया में फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन है, फ्रीडम टू मूव एनी पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया, फ्रीडम टू स्टार्ट एनी ऑक्यूपेशन. दीज आर द individual freedom. Okay,
हम्म
and the number thing is two thing is equality before law. Okay,
हम्म
the person who accepted liberalism means liber means free, and which thing they are
हम्म
trying to free? Individual
right
freedom and equal before law. लिबरलिज्म को सपोर्ट करने वाले को दो चीज चाहिए था: इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम और इक्वल इक्वल बिफोर लॉ. लॉ के सामने सारे सेम है, और इंडिविजुअल व्यक्ति का खुद का कुछ फ्रीडम होता है. Okay, actually they try to get these things on two sphere. Okay, actually this liberalism but nationalism, who are following liberalism, they were trying to get individual freedom and equal before law on two sphere. Okay, the number one
हम्म
sphere is political sphere, another is economic sphere.
हम्म
मीन्स ये जो लिबरलिज्म को सपोर्ट करने वाले थे, इनको दो चीज चाहिए था: इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम और लॉ के सामने
individual
सारे सेम
freedom
है.
and
हाँ,
family
ये किस तो कॉन्सेप्ट में चाहिए था? पॉलिटिकल पॉलिटिकल स्पीयर में चाहिए था और इकोनॉमिक स्पीयर में चाहिए था. तो द क्वेश्चन इज, हाउ डिड लिबरलिज्म वर्क इन द पॉलिटिकल स्पीयर? मीन्स ये जो लिबरल थे, ये जो लिबरल नेशनलिस्ट थे, इनको पॉलिटिकल स्पीयर में क्या चाहिए था, किस चीज का फ्रीडम चाहिए था? ओके, यू अंडरस्टैंड?
हाँ
हाँ। Liberalism supported the idea of a government by consent of people. Remember two things. Liberalism or liberal nationalists try to get two things. One is individual freedom. Number two is equality before law. Equality before law. They were trying to get two things on two sphere, political sphere or economic sphere. Here we are learning in political sphere how this how they wanted to get individual freedom and how they wanted to get equality before law.
हाँ
Liberal supported the idea for government by consent of the people. Look, this is one of the character in individual freedom, na?
हाँ
Because if you are governing me, then I have the power, na? If if I
हाँ
have the power, if you are doing anything wrong with me, then in next election I will change you, na? ओके पहले वो क्या बोला था, लिबरलिज्म सपोर्टेड द आइडिया ऑफ गवर्नमेंट बाय कंसेंट ऑफ द पीपल, मींस पीपल के कंसेप्ट से कंसेंट से गवर्नमेंट बनना चाहिए, ना कि एब्सोल्यूट मोनार्की. You and your son become the ruler. It opposed autocracy and clerical privileges. And means whatever the autocracy have the privileges, they were trying to demolish them. Clerical means जो पोप फोप जो से होते हैं. It favored a constitution. Okay. Government by consent means I gave you the consent, you become the government. But how you work, there should be one constitution, ना? Because जो आम पर्सन है उनके पास बहुत सारे काम है, तो वो तो नहीं बता पाएंगे ना गवर्नमेंट क्या काम करेंगे. देयर शुड बी वन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एंड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव गवर्नमेंट थ्रू पार्लियामेंट. मीन्स आपको पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट के थ्रू आना चाहिए. ये क्या है पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट? मीन्स आप इलेक्शन में आओगे, इलेक्शन जीतने बाद पार्लियामेंट में जाओगे, पार्लियामेंट में आपके सपोर्टर जैसे होंगे, उस टाइप का आप गवर्नमेंट बनाओगे. इसको हम लोग डिटेल्स पढ़ेंगे किस पे, सिविक्स पार्ट में. व्हाट मीन बाय पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. ओके. In revolutionary France, voting rights were given only to property owning men. Men without property and all women were denied political. These were the things the liberal nationalism or nationalist trying to get from government. This is the political sphere. Okay. Number 1 point you understand. Number 2 point you understand. Number 3 point you understand. Actually, they were trying to get the look. If you are telling government by consent, that means your country should have voting system, na? Otherwise, how you make a government by consent? So initially, they're trying to get voting right, but they're trying to give voting right to men only. To men only. Means वो खुद बता रहे हैं कि इक्वालिटी चाहिए, पर खुद भी बोल रहे हैं कि इक्वालिटी किसको चाहिए, सिर्फ और सिर्फ मेल को चाहिए. क्योंकि वोटिंग राइट, लुक, इन रिवोल्यूशनरी फ्रांस वोटिंग राइट वर गिवन ओनली टू प्रॉपर्टी ओनलिंग मैन. अगर आप फ्रांस में देखोगे, जो स्टेट जनरल को डिमोलिश करके नेशनल असेंबली बना था, हेलो, वो नेशनल असेंबली के मेंबर कैसे आए थे? बाय द इलेक्शन. देन हु गेव वोट?
में ओनली मैन आए थे.
No. Who gave vote? The person who are having property. एक तो मेन होना चाहिए और मेन के पास प्रॉपर्टी होना चाहिए. आज ऐसा नहीं है. आज है यूनिफॉर्म अडल्ट सफेज. यूनिफॉर्म अडल्ट सफेज मीन्स जैसा इंडिया में अगर आप 18 साल से ज्यादा हो, इरेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ योर रिलीजन, इरेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ योर economic status, you are able to give the vote. Only the one category, that is you should have 18 years. But initially in Europe, the voting right was given to property owning men. You should be men and you should have property. Men without property and all women were denied political rights. During the Jacobean period, all adult men got the right to vote for a short time. When Jacobean club means 1792 to 93. 93 to 94. Jacobean club was in power, na? They gave political right to all men.
Babosphere.
But the Napoleon Code again introduced limited suffrage. Suffrage means 3% men can give the vote. Women were treated as minors under the authority of a father and a husband. Means you are under your father and husband, so you don't have the right to give the vote.
Vote.
In the 19th century and early 20th century, women and non-propertied men started movement for equal political right. Look, this is the extra things you have to remember. What were the liberal nationalists trying to get from government in political sphere? Okay. Then, how did liberalism work in the economic sphere? We completed political sphere, in which we learn government by consent, and the aristocrat and the clergy's privileges should be abolished, and the government should be a parliamentary form of government. Okay, but in political sphere, what they want?
Voting से आनी चाहिए elected ना चाहिए not
In political sphere, sorry, in economic sphere, liberalism supported the freedom of market and free trade. The market should be free for everyone. Okay, and today if you have money, then you can easily start your own business, na? Okay, but that time there were several restriction on freedom, restriction on the trader. Okay, hello.
हाँ
It opposed state imposed restriction on the movement of goods and capital. Liberalism trying to oppose whatever the restriction you are, the aristocrats were put on the trader. You have to stop. Okay, are different type of restrictions. Suppose this is the Habsburg Empire, okay, or Persian Empire. Different cantons are there. From one canton to another canton, you have to give tax. Okay. The growing middle class demanded economic freedom for trade and the business. Economic freedom means free कर दो, market को free कर दो, ये सारे restriction को हटा लो. Who told this? The middle class, the educated liberal middle class. In the early 19th century, German speaking people were divided into 39 states. Means here one example was given. How means before this liberalism concept, how was the European condition? Okay, look, German speaking region was divided into 39 states. This is the Persian Empire. It was divided into 39 states. How many states?
39.
Each state had its own currency, weight, and measures. Think, means it is India. In India, 28 states have their own currency. Means from one state to another state, if you are trying to trade, you have to change your currency. For changing currency, you have to pay some tax, na? And in throughout the India, the measurement are different. So this create lots of problem to the traders. Merchants have to cross many custom barriers while trading goods. Heavy custom duties will increase the cost of trade. Different system of weight and measure created confusion and dealing business. This is one example how what was the situation in German.
In Germany.
Then what happening? This problem becomes obstacle to economic growth and exchange. Think na, as a trader, my main intention is to, it's my business. But here you look, 39 states, every state having their own currency, own weight, own measures. In one state, you are carrying 1 kg things. Suppose in 1 kg, 12 potato are there. In another country, if you try to sell, if another state try to sell, the 1 kg become 500 grams. Okay. The commercial middle class demanded one unified economic territory. That's why the commercial trader or the liberal nationalist trying to one unified economic territory. Look. Then initially they are becoming unified under economic condition. That means our main intention is how they united. So this is the situation. Look, first they are trying to political right. due to political right, one type of unity were coming. Then they were trying to get economic right. Due to this, one type of unity is coming, and the main intention of the chapter is unity, na, unification, na.
हाँ
They wanted free. Okay, in 1834, what was happening? Look, we were studying how, but what was the economic condition in German, a special case. Okay, Prussia means
रूसिया मतलब जर्मन
German. From the Zollverein, the important question, maybe 2 mark question. What do you mean by Zollverein? And Zollverein is nothing but a custom union, a trade union, economic territory, economic territory. Initially, Prussia was divided into 39 states.
हम्म
Now, economically, look, politically 39, but economically they converted into one union. One union. And throughout this Persian dynasties, economically they were same. Okay. So if the question is coming like what do you mean by Zollverein? A custom union. Most German states joined this custom union. In 39 states, most of this state uh, accepted this Zollverein. The Zollverein abolished tariff barriers between states. It also reduced the number of currency from more than 3 to 2, more than 30 to 2. Means before this Zollverein, in German, by in Persian Empire, there were 39 states, around 30 currency. But after this Zollverein coming, by custom union coming, they reduced 30 currency to 2 currency. Okay, then think how much benefit the trader get. Okay, the development of a railways improved trade and the transportation. Then ट्रेड को ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को सही किया गया. ओके, railways increase the movement of a people and good across regions. Economic utility strengthen the feeling of nationalism among German people. You understand what was happening in German? German was divided into 39 states, and this liberal nationalist or the trader have several problems. So they were trying to create one economic territory. One economic territory. Focus on my sentence. One economic territory means nationalism feeling. They were initial of this discussion. I was telling you that actually the main intention is economic development, but due for getting economic development, in background nationalism feeling is also creating. Okay. Then move to new conservatism after 1815. Conservatism means liberalism. It is one type of philosophy in thinking in liberalism, but liberalism tells about freedom. Okay, the freedom should be individual freedom. The freedom should be look. Look, the freedom should be individual freedom, and the freedom should be in front of a law. Everyone should be same. This is the idea of a liberalism. Here, one new ideology or philosophy was started, that is conservatism. Conservatism means, look, you know, from 1804 to 1815, in France and nearest country was ruled by Napoleon Bonaparte. So Napoleon Bonaparte was the supporter of nationalism, na? That's why during this time, this liberalism concept of liberal nationalism idea was emerged in Europe. But after Napoleon Bonaparte, this conservatism, it was entire against of nationalism, means liberalism. Okay, against of liberalism. Look, what do you mean by conservatism? Conservatism was a political idea followed by European government after the defeat of Napoleon in 1815. This idea was emerged after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte. Then, like, look, in liberalism, their trust was to get freedom. The conservatism believed in preserving traditional institution. Means they supported monarchy. Traditional means जो पीछे से
था।
पहले था उसको फॉलो करना। दे सपोर्टेड monarchy, church, social hierarchy, property, family values. Means whatever the liberal were thinking, conservatism were against them, na?
हाँ,
They wanted to protect old tradition and
मतलब
establish
नेपोलियन ने
system
जो
of,
जो अच्छा किया था
हाँ,
वो सब चेंज कर रहे
चेंज
थे।
करने के लिए बोल रहे थे। ये क्यों होगा, ये कंजर्वेटिज्म क्यों ताकत में आएंगे, क्योंकि अभी नेपोलियन बोनापार्ट
नेपोलियन हार चुका है।
हार चुका है। ओके,
हम्म,
so that means Europe nationalism is not coming once. Once it is coming, then demolished by conservatism, again coming, again demolished by conservatism. It was like one snake,
अल्ले
snake game. Look, you understand what do you mean by conservatism?
हाँ,
That means they follow traditional institution. Okay, traditional institution means social hierarchy, church, monarchy, property, family value. Mean there should not be freedom, equality. It should not be there. Okay.
हम्म,
Then the next question is, we are conservative against modernization. Look, before 1789, people were not thinking about these terms freedom, equality, okay, justice. They were not thinking about this. But from 1789 to 1815,
1915,
around 15 26 year, people know this term. People know about this term. Then the question is, were conservative against modernization? The answer is
नहीं,
conservative were not completely against modernization. Look, suppose
ये पास,
I am following the traditional institution, but king has the power na, they can change the army,
हम्म,
they can demolish the feudal system, they can they can administrate the country properly. और मैं राजा का सपोर्टर, जैसे मान लो कोई बीजेपी का सपोर्टर है, तो वो क्या सोचेगा, बीजेपी जब भी ताकत में आएगा जो अच्छा चीज है वो करना चाहिए।
हम्म,
अगर कोई कांग्रेस का है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ पावर चेंज होगा और कुछ आइडियोलॉजी में चेंज होगा, but the development should be there, but the development should be there. So if the question is coming, were conservative against modernization? No,
नो,
they supported, they believed modernization could strengthen traditional institution like monarchy. Means under monarchy you should do the development.
यू शुड डू
Uh,
डेवलप।
and the development should be gradually means स्लो होना चाहिए, इससे इमीडिएट नहीं होना चाहिए।
नेपोलियन की तरह नहीं
हम्म,
इमीडिएटली कर
बस।
दिया था उसको।
तो क्या क्या वो चाहिए था, क्या क्या मॉडर्नाइजेशन को एक्सेप्ट कर रहे थे, मीन्स बहुत क्या है, वो फ्रीडम को, डेमोक्रेसी की तो पहले वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया। अगर आप डेमोक्रेसी का एक्सेप्ट करोगे तो मोनार्की कैसे बनेगा, क्योंकि मोनार्की तो अपोजिट ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी ना।
हम्म,
दे एंड look, whatever the liberal nationalists were trying to do, they were not totally against of them, but few point they were accepted, like they supported a modern army and efficient bureaucracy. Modern army everyone need, otherwise like Napoleon, another army leader will come or they will acquire you. Okay, they accepted a dynamic economic for stronger state power. Means whatever the economic development was happening during these days, you should agree this. Okay,
हम्म,
they supported the abolition of feudalism and serfdom. Due to this, the development was decreased. They believed these changes would make autocratic monarchy stronger and more effective. They were supporting this because, look, if you try to set monarchical form of government, then monarch should do these things. Na? If monarch will do these things, automatically monarch become the stronger. The main intention is you should do the development. Okay, वो नेशनलिस्ट कर रहे हैं या फिर मोनार्की कर रहे हैं, वो नहीं जा रहा है, डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए। Then the next thing is it, what was the Treaty of Vienna of 1815? Okay, means after Napoleon defeated in the war of Waterloo, what happening in Europe? Okay, means look, 100% conservative will come into power,
हाँ,
but after coming into power, will they do everything that benefit the people? No. Look.
No.
In 1815, representative of Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Look, these are the four countries. Brit, Russia, Prussia, and Austria.
Yeah.
Okay. Britain means UK. It is the western part of the. Okay, leave. Wait. We stop this. Okay. Till this. Tomorrow. In this week. In Monday or Tuesday, we will complete this chapter. Okay.
Hmm.
Just a minute.